welcome to our latest podcast. Today I have somebody very special with me that I'd like you to listen to and pay great attention to. Now, before I introduce my guest, I didn't mention his name, I'm not going to yet, is the best I can describe this gentleman is that when I first met him, he reminded me of, it's a compliment by the way, it reminded me of like when I was like in my early 20s and you're just about to go out on a Friday night, you've been working all week and you dress up and you call your mates and you're gonna meet some girls and you go to the local bar, so have the perfect haircut when I had hair, you shave yourself, get the perfect suit on, you go to the local bar and it's full of beautiful ladies and you think tonight's my night, the stars have lined up right and you're just about to approach them and then this guy walks in, right? And you think, oh sugar, I think I better go to another bar. Because he's got everything. He's got the looks, he's got the body, he's got the character. God's given him loads of aces in life, and you either hate him, or you love him, or you pray and hope that he's gay. So, so without further ado, I want to welcome this gladiator and Superman to this podcast, Ben Watara.
Yes.
Correct?
Hi, Dariush. Yeah, thank you so much. That was the funniest introduction that I've ever had in my entire life.
True though, because I was doing the seminar, I was like, oh, who's that good-looking guy? He's got everything going for him. Should I just finish my seminar? So, welcome, man.
Thank you so much, man, for having me. How you doing?
It's been, I think we met about 7 months ago.
Yeah, about that, yeah. The
Time,
fuck-up night in Dubai.
The world has changed, no?
Yeah, it's crazy. How fast it can go, right?
Yeah, but I think, I've been following you for a while. I think you've stepped up. You've stepped up. You've stepped up with your social media. You stepped up with your coaching. You seem very active. You're sitting on your hands, are you?
No, because I believe that, a lot of times, tough times bring out, the best in people, because now you really have to, move forward. For me, it really, a lot of times I don't really feel like much has changed. If anything, it just has revealed a lot, It's just sometimes like, when you have like ebb and flow in the ocean and the water goes back and now you see everything that was there, but you just couldn't see it before because it was covered. Yes. And a lot of people, I realize, right now, they're starting to really confront certain things in their own lives. And for me, honestly, it's just been, because most of my business is online, I just realized that there are even more opportunities. I've been doing a lot in German before. Now I'm really moving to English. So since the beginning of the year, I really moved to English. That's why a lot of people here in Dubai didn't really know what I was doing, because I was doing all my coaching, all my content in German for the past 2 years. But yeah, I think that this is the best time. I believe that it's always the best time, to work on yourself, to move forward, to step up, to give 100%. And a lot of times people won't see what you're up to because you're building up and you're behind the scenes. And then when it comes out, it feels like, boom, this is like the big bang, the big moment.
But you've been doing all the preparation beforehand.
It led up to it, So, and that's what we see, I feel that a lot of people are unjustly comparing themselves to others. Because they're comparing, like the highlights and the show reels of others to their behind the scenes. Yes. And that's why they feel like not good enough, not worthy enough. They don't have the confidence to move up. And, unless they're pushed and forced, they sometimes don't rise up to the challenge. That's why I believe that, people feel with their back against the wall, but now they have no other choice but to move forward. And now they can actually find out that they had much more potential in them. They felt that they weren't ready, but they were actually ready. And you actually, before we went on camera, you told me about, a moment in your life that was actually, like a gift in disguise. And I believe that right now, a lot of people have these gifts in disguise because, there is this definition of luck when they say luck is opportunity meeting preparation, right? And a lot of people, I think that they misinterpret it because they feel like, okay, so there are opportunities that come once in a while that I can't control. The only thing I can do is get prepared for it, right? So first of all, that's not true because you can create opportunities. But the second thing is, what if there's an opportunity in front of you? You are prepared, but you don't feel prepared. Because a lot of people are perfectionists and they don't feel ready.
They got fears.
Exactly. So they let opportunities pass by. They don't really step up to it. And opportunity after opportunity passes you by, but because you don't have to, because you have a choice. You could, but you don't feel ready. Now you have situations in your life that force you to take action. And then you actually find out, oh, I was ready. I could do it. It was just in my mind.
What makes people not quit? Because a lot of people quit. Majority of people quit, right? Yeah. What makes them go from quitting to taking action, overcoming their fears, the not good enough internal dialogue? What do you think it takes? Now, some of them are blessed and they have people like you coaching them, and they've been doing that before this virus situation, right?
Yeah.
What do you think will take? Because I know Tony Robbins quite well, and when he did his infograms or whatever adverts that he did them at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, because he knew the people who weren't doing well in life, who were fat, who were unemployed, everything, they were up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, hating their lives, right? And commercials were cheaper at 3-4 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, and he succeeded that way. What does it take for people to realize they got to step up?
I believe that there are many factors in play, but one is definitely pain. You know, like, you know, when they say we're moved by pleasure and pain, but a lot more people are going to move not to lose something or because of fear to run in one direction. When you talk about being inspired and having the beautiful in front of you, because people know that they will have to go through pain or embarrassment or shame, because that's the things that most people are really afraid of. We're not really afraid of physical pain, you know, or death. Yeah. It's more this.
It's kind of inevitable, and we can overcome it, right?
Exactly. It's more about your image, what people are gonna, you know, people are not afraid of failure. They're afraid of people seeing them fail. That's what the biggest problem is. So I believe that once you reach your point in your life, because, you know, a lot of people, they say, for example, I can't quit my job. I don't know what, but the day they lose their job, now all of a sudden they're able to do something. They're able to find something, right? So I believe that there's some people in life early on that were forced to come into new situations, were forced to, you know, to reinvent themselves so many times by life that it became a pattern. So that gave them confidence, you know. And it's just like when we talk about virus, for example, your immune system develops and gets stronger by being exposed to germs. So if you have children, for example, when they're very young and you want to protect them and you want to put them in a safe environment,
get them to play in the dirt.
Exactly.
Get them to go out there. Don't overprotect them, right?
If you do that, any small virus is going to be able to destroy them. And that's the same thing with people in their lives, you know, because if you've been, you know, living very sheltered and, you know, you never really had a lot of challenges, or your parents gave you everything and, you know, you're just spoiled, now the smallest challenge is going to feel like a huge mountain you can't overcome. And I believe that actually, because you mentioned Tony Robbins, there's one thing that he said once. He said, most people's standards is a direct reflection of the expectation of their peer group. Which means that your environment, has a huge impact on you. You know, so one of the main things that when people come into a new environment, new people, new challenges, you know, and he said that, for example, soldiers that are in the army, that's the highest standard that they have on their fitness level. And sometimes when they leave it, they're not able to sustain it because that environment actually shaped them. Sure. So I believe that when it comes to self-development, when it comes to motivation, a lot of people, self-development, they focus too much on the self. They feel like with discipline and willpower, that's all that you need. And if you don't do that, you're just lazy. And you don't realize that actually it's your environment, the conditions, the structures, the routines, the deadlines, that actually make you and force you to stay in a specific habit until it becomes a part of you. And then if you say, okay, you know what, I've been working out for 20 years and it's part of me. For example, me, you gotta hold me back to not work out, you know, because it's so part of me that I feel like now,
it's part
exactly,
of you,
it became who you are, you know, and that's the thing. But until you develop that, you know, you need to be in a frame, in a structure. And that's the problem, because people, sometimes they would just have like this one moment where they feel like, you know what, I'm gonna change something. But now it's a journey. And on that journey, you have different moments. And then you have one moment. And I believe that to understand what makes people quit, it's important to understand what goes on in their mind. So let's say, because we have to quit a lot of times. We have to quit one thing to start a new. You know, quitting is not something
if you
something
stick
negative.
to the same thing, there's no growth, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
You know, so in life, you have to, you know, they have this quotes like winners don't quit. I mean, winners quit all the time. Sometimes you have to let go this relationship, this job, this project, this idea to start something new. You have to quit your old version of yourself.
And they welcome change.
Exactly. You have to let go who you believe to be to create who you need to be. You know, so then it's like, okay, but what holds you in that old frame? What holds you in that old pattern? And that's the past. Like our present is the past. Everything you are, every person you know, everything you have, everything you possess, the languages you speak, the skills you have are all based on the past experiences. So now when people, basically the past is nothing but a thought in your mind. But let's say you've been smoking for the past 10 years. So now you have this identity, I'm a smoker. Now you want to quit that. Or you've been overweight and you've been eating unhealthy. and you want to quit that. You want to start something new. Now, you've been working out for 3 weeks, or you didn't smoke for 3 weeks, and then you have one day where you're weak and you smoke or you eat a burger. The problem is now that you're connecting the story to the past. So you skip the 3 weeks and people say, I'm back in my old behavior. And that's just a thought in your mind. But where's the difference? If you cut out the 10 years before and
there
you
is
start
no old
counting,
behavior.
there's nothing. There's just the past 3 weeks you've been working out. Someone that has been working out for the past 10 years or never smoked, that behavior in the past 3 weeks is exactly the same to the person that hasn't been doing that in the past. But because you have that identity, now you're connecting it. It's like a bridge. You have this one moment.
It's the trigger that connects you to the past.
And now you connect it to the past and like, and then you have the what the hell effect. What the hell effect? If I smoked one cigarette, I might as well smoke two. I ate one, I already messed up today, so what the hell? And now, out of this one day or this one action, you have 1 week, and then you go
fall back
into
what you've been focusing on, which is your negative past.
Exactly.
Right. And what I find is, what I find is that people aren't often honest with themselves. The ego blocks that honest conversation. Do you see? And I think people like yourself come in and give them the honest dialogue, that wake-up call. What do you think? Do you think the ego blocks that honest conversation? You know, I call it the bathroom moment, where you look in the mirror and you have an honest dialogue with yourself. Yeah. Did I BS my way through today? Was it a really success? Was I a good dad today? Was I a good partner today? Right. I don't feel, I may be wrong, that people don't have that honest conversations with themselves.
Yeah, because it's a lot of times it's subconscious, right? So first of all, we put on a mask when we talk to other people.
Correct.
And then a lot of people have this perfectionistic approach to life. So if you put on a mask when other people are around, it becomes who you are. And then even when no one is there, you have a mask in front of yourself. And that is one of the most difficult, most challenging things to do. And a lot of times people would face that in their, hardest moments.
Yes.
A lot of people, that's what they call awakening. And the thing is this, I believe that a lot of people, just like, the example with losing weight or smoking cigarettes, they feel like if it's a shift one time, it's forever. They don't see it as a process. They don't see it as something you constantly have to do. So you might have a moment where you're honest to yourself and you really realize something. And then you go back into that old behavior and then you just, it's never going to work. That is the biggest problem. I always tell people it's like, when you look at all the rituals, that we can learn when it comes to morning ritual, when it comes to affirmation, when it comes to meditation, everything that can bring you back into the present and bring you back to your current self, forgiving yourself for past mistakes. That's something that you have to do on an ongoing basis. That's something you do one time. Yes. I always tell people it's like taking a shower. You take a shower, but now you go out
for a day.
Exactly. You got to take a shower again. Yes. You eat multiple times a day. You sleep every day. It's not something you do one time and then you can go off. And that's the same thing. These are routines. So you get dirty. You go out there. You confront it to so much. So you have to clean yourself again. And you have to forgive yourself. And you have to, really build up that habit. And that's a problem because a lot of times people feel like, I feel that the biggest limitation that most people have is impatience. They're impatient with themselves. Yesterday. Yes. And I want
we live in a fast, rich, quick, fast, US Got Talent and all this business, right?
Yeah, you feel like everything happens overnight.
Quickly. But 99.9999% of people takes time.
Exactly. If you want to go fast, go slow. Yes. And it's just like you're so impatient and you're looking for a shortcut and you've been looking for a shortcut for the past. I heard this one story one time. It's like, like you have these old, like martial arts, stories. And there was like a story with like a martial artist, a master, and he had like 2 students, right? And one student was very talented. He was very fast, strong. He could pick up things very fast. So he was like, wow, this guy's going to become a champion. Then the second one, he wasn't as talented. He didn't, he was very slow. He was not that fast. He didn't have the best, talent and abilities. So the talented one asked the master, how long, is it going to take me to reach the black belt and be a master? And he said, you know what? If you practice 2 to 3 hours every single day for the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to be there. He said, what? 2 to 3 hours every day for 2 to 3? I thought it was going to take me a year. I'm very talented. I'm very, it's like, nah, that's too long. I'm not going to do that. So then the one that's not that talented, he asked him the same question. He said, you're not that talented. You'll have to train at least 5-6 hours every single day for the next 5 to 6 years. But because his expectation was, he was like, I thought I might never be able to get there. I thought it might take me 20 years. You tell me that's nothing. So he did it. And now if you compare the level after 5, 6 years from the person that was not as talented and the one that actually had more talent, it all came down to the patience, but also the impatience coming from the high expectation.
Yes.
And now, if you really look at it, if you really want to get results fast, you have to do it slow. Because if you started something 10 years ago that now you've been going on a diet and a quick fix thing for the past 10 years and you're still in the same place you were before.
It hasn't worked.
And someone else reached there for 3 years. So
and
3 years is not long.
That one thing that's consistent, time passes.
Yeah.
Right? Time passes. Like it or not, change happens, time passes. Those things we can guarantee.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, and thank you for this, love your energy. Tell me about your path. Tell me about your journey. German, Dubai, personal development, health, fitness, coaching, business.
Yeah.
How do we get here?
So, in a nutshell, let's say this. So, my dad's from the Ivory Coast. My mom is German. And I grew up in the Ivory Coast. So, my first language is French. I went to the Ivory Coast, went there to school. And we left when I was 12. My father started up a business in Belgium. So, we moved to Brussels, lived there for 2 years. And then when I was 14, moved to Germany. So already, there was a lot that I had to deal with when I was younger because I was super introverted, very shy, and I like my biggest fear was to be in the center of attention, to have people see me. I wanted to hide, I was good in school, but I didn't want to be too good.
And I guess because moving as well, it didn't help. You didn't settle.
Exactly. But that was before we even moved, and that was a big thing because then we moved to Europe. And now all of a sudden, I'm the only black kid in the whole school, so if I'm in the center of attention no matter what I do, and on top of it, I was a people pleaser. I always wanted to fit in. So I never really had a sense of identity.
Been there. Me too.
So what you do is you observe other people, and without knowing it, I already started to
other people's characteristics and personalities.
Exactly. Modeling people, looking at who's cool, how do I have to behave, what's here, and then
what makes you popular. Yeah.
And then you move again to another place. Yes. And now you have completely different rules. What's cool there, it's not cool here. What's funny there, it's not funny here. So you constantly in observer mode. And that's something that became a really big part of me that, I started to observe other people to be able to extract. Wow. But in the beginning, it was really a survival mechanism because I was like, I need to know the rules here and I want to know how to behave.
You don't get picked on.
Exactly.
You don't stand out from a crowd.
Yeah. Exactly.
And accepted.
Accepted. That was like my main, value was like, I want to be accepted by everyone else, And so, I went to school in Germany and I really didn't, know what I want to do with my future. I was living from day to day, and then, after time, I started playing basketball and rapping, and I had like a lot of friends that were, doing these things. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Were you good at it? Were you good at basketball?
No, I wasn't good at basketball, but I was really good at rapping.
Yeah, I noticed you actually rapped.
But basketball, I was really athletic, so I could jump, I could dunk a basketball when I was 14.
Really? Can you still do that?
I can still do it.
Oh,
yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah.
I could never. He said, like, Iranians can't jump. That's what it is. Right? Before we go any further, you said your dad was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear the rest of the journey. But what did you learn from your dad's journey as an entrepreneur?
So basically,
because you were observing him as well, right?
Yeah.
And what he was going through.
Well, the thing is, this is kind of. I didn't get the best, like energy, because he kind of was frustrated, with a lot of things, and he started as an entrepreneur when I was 12, So first he had a job in the Ivory Coast, and really saw there was a devaluation of the money, and there was a crisis, yes. Financial crisis, and we left, and then he restarted his own business, but then it was tough, so it didn't work out the way he planned. He struggled. That's why we moved from Brussels to Germany, and it was kind of and then my dad also kind of put this in my mind. No, go to school, get a degree, get a safe. Exactly. It's not easy. You can't just do things on your own like this. But to me, it was already.
Is your father still with us?
Yes, he is.
Great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And he never got a job after that. He's always been I think that there's no going back. Once you're an entrepreneur in your mind, you do your own thing and you have your own ideas. Whether it works or not, it's better or worse. You constantly. you constantly come up with, ways and solutions, So yeah, it's kind of, but I had this in me. I never had a job. Like I always found like I had like summer jobs for like a month or working in a call center, but I never was an employee for a longer period of time. I always try to find my own way. But in the beginning, it was also because I didn't want to answer to nobody. I felt that I was going through a lot of also, figuring out who I am.
It was your journey.
Exactly,
right?
My journey. Yeah. Also, I didn't want to.
You want to find yourself.
Yeah,
because for too long you've been trying to fit in, and I guess rap is a way to express yourself, right?
Yes, it's funny because you discover so much about yourself while you go through roles in life. Because even as a rapper, what you do is you create a alter ego. You give yourself a name. And then you just like, I actually called myself Benz. With an S, because I felt like I have multiple personalities, and I didn't want to stick to one style.
Right. So many Bens.
Many Bens. That's how I see myself.
French or German?
What, the rap? Both. Actually, I rap in 3 languages now. I do like French, German, English.
Wow.
And that's kind of the journey. In the beginning, I just rapped, about everything, like girls and being cool and the ego, right? That's the main thing in rap is ego. But then you just train a style, and then later on, I studied filmmaking. I was in Holland. I was on an art academy. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but that's really cool because in Holland, on the art academy, they have something it's called propedeuse. It's the first year. I studied in Dutch, by the way, so that's like another thing. So they have something it's called.
When you walk in that bar, I'll walk out. I'm not going to even talk to you, right?
But the cool thing is, I like their concept because sometimes you have to make a choice even though you didn't really try out that much. So you feel that this is what I want to do. And that's what a lot of people, they get stuck with something. It's like, this is what I want to do. They start and boom, that's the decision that I made. So in Holland, we're in that field, especially arts. So it's like art academy. In the first year, you have to do everything. So you go into, they call it autonomic arts. So drawing and painting and sculpting. Then you have fashion design. Then you have like graphic design, web design, photography, video, everything, even architecture. So
did you have the support of your parents to go into that?
Well, yeah, it was a challenge in the beginning, because they were like, well, what are you going to do with it when you finish?
Where are you going to earn the money? Where's the stability in this?
Yeah, and I didn't know. I was just like, I went to they had like the open day, you could go there and check it out. And I was like, and it's in Holland, so they're very liberal. You have the teachers are smoking a joint and, and he's just like, yeah, I just paint. And I was like, I need to be in this place, it's just cool. But I didn't know what I would do after that.
I still do. Twice a year, Amsterdam.
Yeah, it's
I
like,
don't do drugs.
but it's just like, that's, like, that was the direction. And the thing is, I was very stubborn. There was a point where I was just like, you're not going to get... I did like an apprenticeship, because my dad was always like, yeah, you should do something with business and with finance and, something like this. And I didn't know. So I said, maybe, and I just went into a company for like 2 months and basically,
did nothing for you.
No, but also I didn't really learn anything. They knew I speak French and they were like, oh, we have French customers and can you just translate this? And I was like, well, that's not what I'm here, But anyways, I just felt that at one point I'm just going to do what I want to do. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but I just want to do what I want to do. And I just went on this academy, and in the first year, and that was really good because sometimes people come and say, I want to do graphic design, or I want to be a photographer. And they go to the first year, and they do so many different forms, and they're like, actually, now that I did it...
Maybe it's not graphic design I want to do.
I'm much better at this, or I like this more, but because I never did it before. And that's what I believe in life, you're only as free as the options that you know. And sometimes you haven't been exposed to much, so you only choose from what you know.
Exactly.
Same thing with relationships, with people, with businesses, with you just have a small limitation. And in that school, they actually extended it. Wow. So this became a philosophy in my mind, and I was always a fan from Bruce Lee. I don't know if you know, like he created his own martial arts.
Yes, absolutely.
Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah,
and that's absolutely the same thing. He studied all the martial arts that exist.
And that's what upset the other masters because he created his own.
Exactly. Yeah. But what he said is, I'm not going to be limited to one style. I need to learn everything. And he said, absorb what's useful, reject what's useless, and add what's essential. But before you know if something is useful or not, you have to use it, right? So that's why it's important to not only look at things from afar, but actually experience it. Because you can say
ignorance comes from it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't know enough, you become ignorant. If you haven't traveled enough, you can't judge people.
That's where prejudice. You judge before the fact. You don't know the fact, but you have a judgment about it.
Yes.
And that's the biggest danger.
And often comes from your peer group.
Yes. The culture,
noise,
where you grew up.
The noise.
And I believe that this is a gift you know, that I had, because first of all, I'm born in between black and white. I'm gray, you know, if you want to look at it that way. And it's interesting because my grandfather was in World War II.
I like to say milk chocolate.
Yeah,
gray is like, ugh.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
People
you know,
who are gray are dead,
exactly.
right?
I'm brown, you know, like
not plain chocolate, milk chocolate. That's
exactly.
That's my favorite chocolate, right?
Yeah, but you know, like this from the mindsets, you know, when it's just like my grandfather was, you know, in World War II on German side. You know,
wow.
And my dad actually remembers when the, you know, like French were in the Ivory Coast, and you know, he doesn't know his birthday because they say, oh, you're born on 1st of January 1950, because they didn't know. They look at it, you're approximately 6 years old, because there was no documents, you know, and they came and said, you're going to speak French from now on, you're not going to speak your native tongue anymore. And it's not that long ago, so you really, you know, grew up in these two worlds. And then when I was younger, I come to Europe, and then I understand how the Belgian, you know, like mindset is, and then I come to Germany, and now I have to adjust to this. So I really learned how to put myself in the other person's shoes, and try to understand. Well. Yes, you know, so it makes it very easy later on to relate to people, to communicate, to understand, to be compatible. You know, so many things that you learn.
See, I think you're an optimist, because most people, again, will say, I was doomed. But you see that as an opportunity, right? You saw the positive out of this, where people say, well, you know what, I never make excuses.
Yeah.
I never had a home, I never had friends, I was never stable, I got this, and I couldn't settle, I'm chocolate brown or whatever. You know, they find reasons, and they never let go.
Because, and that's true, and in retrospect, I could do that.
Yes.
Because, and that's something that I believe as strongly as well. You know, people say you can't change your past. I think you can change your past, because your past is
the way you view it. It's your translation of the past.
Exactly.
Right?
It's a story you have in your mind.
Yeah.
So you have a judgment of your past, and you know, you can only connect the dots backwards. You know. Absolutely. So at that time, I hated it. I was like, why? I have to let go, because we didn't have social media and all these things. Like, my friends were gone. It didn't exist anymore. I'm in a new world. I'm completely disconnected. And you know, that's when you really find yourself, when you're like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And it's just like...
Did you have a happy childhood or no?
Yes, yes.
You see, I didn't. So when I get to adulthood, I detached myself. When I look back at my childhood, I think it was somebody else. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
And then I feel that child, poor Soudi, they had a really bad life, right?
Yeah.
But then what positive I took out from it?
Yeah.
So I don't know, you said you had a good childhood, although you had all those challenges.
Well, you see, the thing is that I choose to select, because we have selective memory, right? And a lot of times it's like, I mean, people have that even in a day. You know, we have like these peaks and ends, right, that we remember in our lives. So a lot of times, you know, I ask you at the end of your day, how was your day, or how was your week? And
I say the good points or the bad points. It depends how I
most of the times. The last 2 hours, if you just came out of a meeting and it was really negative and everything else, oh man, I came out of this meeting and like today was you will go home with that energy that your night was like this. Same like, for example, you're mentioning the bar, you know, you're going out with your friends, you know, you're having a lot of fun and people taking pictures, videos, and you know, like tell you a great joke, you have a great night. But as you're going out, some person is drunk and they just pour beer all over you, you know, like all your clothes are wet.
That's all you remember.
That's all you remember until, let's say 5 days later, your friend sends you all the pictures and videos from that night, and you only have these moments, and you might be like, oh wow, that was an amazing night. And now you forget about that beer, right? So we forget so many elements depending on what we take out. And a lot of times we don't celebrate our happy moments over and over again. But our traumas, everything that was painful, hurtful, we replay it 100 times. So now that experience feels like so much heavier, because I started doing something. Like 3-4 years ago, because you know, I once heard this. I think Jim Rohn said it. If your life is worth living, it's worth recording. And I was like, you know, we never really have a good sense of our lives, because time passes by. But we sometimes feel like, yeah, you know what? 5 years ago, I did this. We just remember a couple of moments.
You pick up some notes from 5 years ago. You think that was 5 years ago.
Exactly. So what I started doing is really, I created a timeline of my life. Wow. I built it now. I just turned like 3 days ago. I turned 38. You know, so I just do it every time my birthday. It's like I can go back.
Ben, are you doing everything you can for me to dislike you more and more? Oh my God. Next. Actually, I knew, because it's Ben 82, isn't it? So I'm like, damn it, he's even younger than me, right?
Yeah. So I go and I summarize every week, and I take a couple of things that happened this week, couple of pictures, and I create like a document for myself. At the end of the month, I summarize the past 4 weeks, and at the end of the year, I have a summary of the past 12 months.
Wow.
And I'll go back, and sometimes you'll be shocked because you can learn so much about yourself. You might feel like, that year I didn't really get that much done. But when you go in it, you're like, there were 3 weeks where this happened. I was so productive. Then there were like 3 months where I didn't really get that much done. But why? And then you look at it and you start to see patterns in your life. You start to see my environment, people in my environment. I was emotionally down. I was mentally distracted because of this, because of that. And that repeated again 2 years later and here. But then you get a totally different sense. So I started to do that in retrospect. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to go back for my childhood since I'm born. And I've been doing that for the past 3 years on a regular basis, because you can't do that at once. You're going to sit there and
and it needs discipline.
It's discipline. I just put it in my calendar. I'm like, you know what? Every week I take 30 minutes to an hour and I sit down and I try to work on this. And I have interviews with my dad, with my mom, with friends from back then. I have friends that remember things really. And every time, and I just fill in the gaps. I find a picture and I put it in. It's in that timeline. And now I get a completely different feeling, because when you're a child, 1 year might feel like 5 years.
Yes. When you're older, 5 years feel like 1 year.
Yes. And when you track it, there's certain, because we're emotional. It's what sometimes 10 people can give you a compliment. One person criticizes you.
Yeah, it ruins your day.
And in 1 year, you remember that one criticism and you might forget the compliments. But what was really the reality? So sometimes we have a feeling of our past and our childhood and this experience in that relationship, whatever. And a lot of times we remember the end and we paint the past with that energy.
Yes.
And then I'm like, because I remember that there was one moment and I was like, my past relationship, and it was all negative. And I remember that day specifically, we were fighting, and then I find like a note in my journal from a day after that day, how I felt and how I reflected on that day. And I was like, really? That's how I felt? I forgot. Wow. And that's the thing, that I believe that to become successful, it's important to study other people, to read books. But I believe that the most important book you need to read is the one about yourself, your own life and your own personality. And it's like a good coach, he has to observe someone and then create an environment for you to get better. But and that coming back to what you said, being honest to yourself, how can you really be honest to yourself if you don't even know yourself?
Exactly.
So that's why I believe that this is something that people sometimes say, yeah, but I don't have time for this. But I believe that this is one of the best time investments that I have, because not only now at the end of the year, because in the beginning, the first time I did it, I went into my iCloud and I tried to summarize the past year. I locked myself in for 3 days and I was like, this is too much and I'm missing out so much. But now, because I have these small rituals that I do every day, for 5 minutes, I just sit down at the end of the week, at the end of the month, and at the end of the year, it's like I'm watching a movie. I can watch back the past.
And it's a fair judgment of the past year, because it's been small steps. But if you don't do anything here, you only remember the highlights you choose to.
Exactly. There's so much.
It's I'm learning from you today. And often I get into an argument with someone, I say loved one, somebody close, and suddenly, and you write all the bad things. And you cool off for about 3 days, and you forget that all those bad things ever happened. And everything goes fine, you drop your guard, and then something bad happens again. And all those horrible things is like on that. You think, how could I forget that? I shouldn't let my guard down. Yes, because you don't document it, right? Because as an optimist, you tend to forget the negative, right? And you keep making the same mistakes over and over again, and you wonder why time has gone by and there's been no growth.
Yeah. And that's why it's very powerful when you look at it, because you learn for yourself, and then we summarize so wrongly a lot of times. We're just like, I feel like I didn't achieve anything in that year, and especially when you want to visualize the future, you really look at it and you're like, hold on 1 second. Sometimes I feel like if I want to see where I can be in 5 years, I might be like, I think that's possible. That's not really possible. Now, if I really look back and see, hold on, where was I 5 years ago?
Where you are now, anything's achievable.
And how did I think? Who did I know? What did I achieve in the span of a year?
Yes.
And now you can really assess it.
Yes.
And that's the thing where I believe that, people don't take their time to really analyze this or to look at it, but it's a jewel, because now I really started to, the past 3-4 years are accurate. I could actually track back the past 10 years, because before social media, you didn't really document that much, you know. But I could look at my Facebook timeline, my Instagram timeline, and reconstruct a lot.
Yes.
And
so
then
your
like,
messages, your post, all those feelings and
everything,
experiences will come back.
And then I'm like,
wow,
how is it going to be in 30 years if you keep doing this?
Yes.
If you're sitting there with your children, your grandchildren, and then
I was going to discuss that.
You can go in
imagine
and tell them,
how
when I started my
powerful
first business, that's how I felt. And this is a voice note
and
I
God
recorded.
forbid, you may not even be there 30 years, right? But they have access to their father and grandfather or great-grandfather, because now it's so digitally recorded.
I just received the coffee table book of Bruce Lee, and it's just like like a history of Bruce Lee with pictures, like the
amazing.
And there is his mission statement, because he went to a seminar of Napoleon Hill.
Did he?
And he wrote, he wrote a mission. It's sick. He really, before he went to China, and he said, I'm going to be one of the most successful action stars in the world, and I'm going to be making in the next 10 years $10 million, and I'll be the first Asian who's going to be. He wrote it down, and they have a picture of it because he kept it. And his daughter, Shannon, she put it in the book. And it's amazing to see that, because he wrote down his mission statement.
He knew it.
Exactly. And it's like,
with the same discipline, it took him martial arts, and he couldn't speak English. True.
Yeah.
No acting lessons, nothing. He made it all.
Yeah.
It reminds you of Arnold Schwarzenegger. The same. Because I remember him when he finished bodybuilding. He was being interviewed.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to go to America. I'm going to be a movie star. And everybody, the British audience, they all laughed. Because he had this really strong German accent.
Yeah.
And then he came with, was it Barbarian?
Yeah, Conan the Barbarian, yeah.
And then the rest is history.
It's funny when you think about it. You have a Terminator. It's a robot that comes from the future, and he has an Austrian accent. And he still got the role.
Amazing. Really
I will be
amazing.
back. Yeah.
Amazing. So I'm going to go back to Holland now. Okay, I'm thoroughly enjoying. I hope you're enjoying this, by the way.
Yes, it is amazing. Yeah.
Holland.
So in Holland,
you did the first year. You realized you had all these choices.
Exactly.
So your world opened up.
Yeah, and then from all the things that I really tried, I felt that video production was the one where I felt I could express myself the best, the most powerful. And again, I didn't really think of how can I make money with this. I didn't think about it. I just said this is what I want to do. And then
did you have money worries then?
Pardon?
Or do you have money worries, or
at that time
you just make ends meet?
Yeah, at that time not really. I had like a a side job on the weekend. I was working in a call center, for.
It's amazing
Apple.
how much that money lasts. No?
Yeah,
how far it goes.
Yeah, and it's just you don't need that much. I didn't really need that much money, and it was a kind of like just like as a student, just you have and that's the thing though. You have a lot of. I was living in co-working, with 3 other students, or 4, and then one of them, they have in Holland, they have like a system. It's called anti-crack. It's amazing. So basically, they have a lot of houses, that are just free houses, and no one lives in there. But they have like this rule: if someone from the street just comes up and just goes into your house,
they own it.
They own it. You can't kick them out.
You have to go to court to kick them out.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why they have to. They create like a system. Sorry, kannst du mal aufhören mit was echt laut. I'm just telling because it's loud the camera. They have like this system where.
Excuse me. For the English listeners, would you please not click so loud because I can't concentrate. Exactly. I was doing a live event, right? Just going back, it's so funny because I have my right-hand person, O'Day, the guy you've been speaking to, right? And I'm doing a live event, and behind the scene, he's not paying attention, right? Yeah. Now you are paying attention, and he's dedicated. So he's looking at his phone, he's looking at, and I'm talking to the camera, but in the background, he's doing everything he shouldn't be doing, right? And I'm like, and you can't break it, It's like, stop freaking moving. I'm like. So I get it. Yeah?
But it's part of reality. So like one part of you is like, oh, I'm in the flow, and it's like
click,
yeah.
Or he's moving around and taking photographs in front of you.
Exactly.
He's doing this to me. I was like, don't do it again.
Yeah, and so basically anti-crack, and I was actually just reviewing that because on my birthday I like to just go back through my timeline as I love doing that.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And so basically that was amazing. So they take students. And they make like a contract with them, and they say, okay, you know what? You sign this contract, and we put you in these houses, but they might, sometimes they have like a whole area that they just want to destroy.
Yeah,
take off
maybe
all the
they sell it to a developer, but yeah,
exactly.
You have the right to leave without giving me a headache.
Exactly. Right. So they will find you another place, but they can move you. So they can tell you in 3 weeks you have to move out. Yes. But sometimes people have been staying in places for 4 years
Yeah.
because some people, they have contracts or they don't want to sell their house, so they can't really use the whole area, whatever. So, and then we got the opportunity, and I was there with my girlfriend at the time. You pay 75 euros a month. We had a house. They gave us a house with a garden with like 3 rooms. So we had a walk-in closet, we had a bedroom, and we had an office in the house. We had a living room, kitchen, garden. Like, it was amazing.
This is what happens when you pay taxes.
Yeah.
You pay 50% tax.
Yeah.
People like you get
That's
houses
true.
for 75
But because
euros.
I was a student and I wasn't working, I wasn't paying taxes. So
Other people's taxes. That's
exactly. Exactly. So that was, you know, like, so we were actually I never really had, you know, like this, oh yeah, I need to make money or this. And like, you know, like I didn't have this ambition to make that much money. It was just like, I just need what I need and that's good, you know? And also, you know, a lot of, you know, student life in Europe, people are very, you know, humble and they're with their bikes. Most people don't have a car. And, you know, it's just like everything is very simple, kind of, you know? So you didn't have that peer pressure of...
And you don't go to the top restaurants, you don't buy the top clothes, and just...
Yeah.
Life's perfect, actually.
Yeah, it's very like, you know...
Can we have it back, please? Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so there wasn't really like the peer pressure or the, oh, I'm wearing brands. Actually, it was almost the opposite. You know, you have a lot of people, like, especially in Art Academy and stuff, they just, you know, brand less and kind of hippie lifestyle more, you know, it's just kind of more like this. And
Did you have hair then?
Yeah, I had actually an afro like this.
Did you? When did you start shaving it?
I think like when I finished studying, you know, a year after that, I actually have a picture because one day I woke up, because it's a lot of work, you know, like you have to put products. I was always braiding my hair and everything. I was like, sometimes I'm sitting there for like 3 hours, you know, for my hair, you know, like, and I have to wash it and dry it, you know, because the afro, it keeps a lot of water inside, you know, so I was just like, man, I'm like, you know, comb my hair, put products in it and everything. I was like, nah, yeah. And so I woke up one day and I shaved it off. And then when I reached the middle, I said, hold on, you know? So I actually have a picture. One half is shaved, one half is the afro. And I actually walked out the house like that for one day. I was like, I just got to do it.
My market research.
No one like... Exactly. So you just cut your face and you just have like half. But yeah, I shaved it off one day and then, you know, I just kept it like that ever since.
Yeah, I love it. I shaved when I was 23 and I haven't grown. Now I have no choice. Half of it's not coming back, but I actually really like it.
Yeah, it's easy. You know,
I
you just
really
wake up
like
in the
it.
morning,
I can't even imagine myself with hair.
Yeah, now it's just like, but I think maybe I was around 23, 24, it's like kind of same age, you know, and I just made that decision and just like never went back.
No room for trees on a busy street.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you did that. You found video production, video editing, video production.
Exactly. So then after I finished studying,
so you stuck it out. You did the whole thing 4 years.
The whole thing, the whole thing, and that's when actually I started really. There was like a turning point because even though I was doing all that, and I actually started a little bit with rapping, I still was socially. I was not very sociable. I was.
So your rapping was recorded, not on stage. Did you do stage?
We did stage, but not that often. You know, it was recorded, and it was like more, you know, in a circle of friends. So if I was around people that I knew, I was open,
comfortable.
But I was not. Before I was shy. I wouldn't approach people. Now I was cool. So I'm not talking to you because I'm cool.
Right.
But actually, I'm still afraid of rejection. You know, so that's why I would never go into a place, talk to people I didn't know, or really break the ice. That was like I was always.
You do that now?
I do that now. I completely shifted. Like
really?
my
I'm still an introvert.
Yeah. But
on stage,
but you're not
I can
shy.
talk.
You know, like because.
I am actually very shy.
But is that not label maybe you put on yourself? Because when I saw you, you actually smiled at me from across the room and it's like, hey, hi, you're talking to everyone. It's just like...
Because I'm in my zone. Are you with me?
Yeah.
If I go to a party, I'll be the one in the corner looking at the wall. I just don't do small talk. I'm comfortable. When I get out of the zone, it's not business what I feel I'm an expert in.
Yeah.
I'd rather go and read a book. I'd rather meditate, be on my own.
Yeah.
Walk the beach by myself.
But
like
that,
my
for
own
example,
space.
I'm still, you know, when it comes to, because I make a big difference between introverted and shy, right? Because I'm still an introvert. But
I'm not shy anymore.
I'm not shy, and I can also be an extrovert in situations. Because that's the thing, you know, some people, they're stuck in that one role. Because some people, they're so extroverted, it's hard for them to sit by themselves. It's hard for them to meditate or even read a book and not talk. Like now in the Corona times, it's difficult for them to, you know, not be so, because also
they need to have somebody there. They need to be with someone.
Exactly. When you're pure extroverted, you know. But the thing is, for me, I'm both. You know, I can sit by myself for days, you know, and then just think. But at the same time, I can be on stage in front of thousands of people, and it's like it doesn't cost me energy. Wow. The reason why it cost me energy before is because subconsciously I was so self-aware. I was thinking about what should I say, how should I behave,
what are people thinking of me, but I'm
exactly. That's what's cost energy, because now you're constantly assessing every word you say. You know, people that are true extroverts, a lot of time they would even speak and then they hear themselves speak and then they're like, oh no, that's actually not what I meant. What I meant was, because they just,
Ouch.
you know, they have to hear themselves speak. But when you're purely introvert, a lot of times you assess 10 different ways of saying this. No, I'm going to say it like that, and we're so fast with it, even your body language and everything, and you adjust to the person in front of you, and then that's why sometimes people say, you know, when I'm in social situations that cost me so much energy, I need to be alone for like a week. But it's I compare it to, I really think it's a skill, and I've trained it for myself. It's like if you don't have no stamina, and you're like, you know what, I'm very strong, but I don't have, you know, like endurance.
Yes.
And now I go and run a marathon one time. Even if I run 10 kilometers, I'm going to maybe be sore for a week and be like, yo, that's not for me, because I'm judging myself. But I don't have like a structure and routines to do that, let's say for a year, and build it up. That's what people do. They put themselves in these situations every once in a while. So if for the past 10 years, every 6 months, I try to run a marathon, every time I'm going to be, you know, that's not for me. I'm just more the person for this, for strength, not for endurance. But I didn't really, and it's like a muscle you build, and on top of it, you have this identity that you connect to it.
Do you set yourself challenges all the time?
All the time.
Why?
Because I want to prove to myself that everything is learnable. And sometimes, you know, you have these levels of competence. I don't know if you know them. You know, the 4 stages of competence?
Yes.
And
share it, please.
So you have four levels of actually you have 5, and the 5th one is actually really important, but most people only know 4. So everything that we do, everything that we learn, from speaking, walking, you know, the simplest things that we do, we have the first stage, which is unconscious incompetence. And that's the stage where a lot of people, when they get ideas, they're very motivated because you're not aware that you're incompetent. So I might say, you know what, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, or I'm going to start this business. This is a great idea. I'm going to do this. I already see myself a millionaire. I'm going to spend all that money on this and that. I visualize. That's when I have all the motivation, right? And I like to take the example of riding a car, right? Almost everyone might be watching this has, you know, a driving license. So you're like, you know what, I'm going to get my driving license. I'm going to be free. I'm going to, you know, be independent. I can go wherever I want. Don't depend on
But it
no one.
didn't start like that.
No, but I'm saying before you start,
you have this vision of
you
being
have the vision, but you're in unconscious incompetence.
Yes,
You're not aware that you're incompetent. Now you learn. You have your first driving lesson. Now you're like, oh my God, I got to look in the mirror. I had to, shift gears. I got to I got to look at the road. I have to blink. I have to pay attention. There's so much at once. You might be overwhelmed, and you might be like, I'm never going to be able to do this. Same thing when you go out with your business, and now it doesn't work the way you want it. This doesn't work. The price. So now you're like, oh, it's not going to. That and that's when you're in conscious incompetence. You're incompetent. There's so many things that you can't do.
Oh, you're aware of it.
Now you're aware of it. But that's the frustrating part.
What a great place to be.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part, and that's where most people quit.
Exactly.
That's where most people are like, I'm never going to make this. Boom, boom, boom. Exactly. Unless you have an environment that forces you to stay in that behavior for a longer period of time. Then you get into conscious competence. That's when now you know how to drive, but you still have to pay attention to everything. You have to remind you, oh, I forgot to blink. I have to shift gears. I forgot. But it's working. Your business is running, but you still have a few things you need to, you have
to
fix.
work at it. You have to
work at it, but you prove to yourself that it's possible. You're not doubting that it's possible anymore.
Yes.
Until you do it so long that it becomes unconscious competence.
Second nature.
Exactly.
You get A to B and you don't even know where you indicate to change gears.
It's automatic.
What's the 5th?
The 5th is conscious unconscious competence. Because when you are in unconscious competence too long, you forget that there was a time where it was hard and that you actually built it up, and you feel like, yeah, but this is easy. That's why a lot of people, they don't know what their gift is.
Take it for granted.
Yeah. Some people, I don't know what's something you're good at that you could, have. I don't know, because they're not even aware. And then you're like, but you're very good at this and that. Yeah, but that's easy. Everyone knows how to do that. Not everyone knows, but you're not even aware that it's a competence because you're unconscious.
Is that a good stage to be in?
The what? The unconscious competence?
The 5th one.
The 5th is good because on one hand, it makes you realize, first of all, what your strengths are, what your competences are, which a lot of people are unaware of. Mm-hmm. So it opens up opportunities because you can see how you can help other people. Second thing is, it reminds you where you come from, because right now, you're faced with something where you might be in conscious incompetence. Mm-hmm. And now you're doubting yourself, even though you went through that 20 times in your life, But because it's unconscious and you have that competence, you're not even like thinking about it anymore. Now you're confronted with the same emotions. And that's one of the reasons why I put myself in situations where I have to learn new things all the time.
Right.
All the time. I learn how to dance, I learn how to cook, I learn how to, so many things where I feel like I've never done this before. Everyone has areas where they're not good at something. But the problem is they stay in their comfort zone, and there you are in unconscious competence. But and the third level, why it's important for me, especially if you want to teach something to someone, you have to be able to go back and go through these stages with them. But sometimes you have people, they're very good at something. They can't explain to you how to do it. It's like, just do it. I mean, and they get frustrated and impatient because like, it's so easy, it's so simple. Why can't you just understand it? Because they don't remember how they went through these stages. They're not conscious of their unconscious competence.
Or maybe they don't want to look back.
Or they don't want to. Exactly. No, a lot of people, they don't. Like, that's why they say, just because, for example, Michael Jordan might not be the best basketball coach because he doesn't want to. He's just like, I want to be the best player. And that's why sometimes people watch interviews with successful entrepreneurs or very successful people, and it just feels like, oh, and some people also, they misjudge how they did something because they forget. Oh yeah, you know, I did it, boom, 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 and yeah, and I just grinded it out.
Naturally to them, they just took it for granted.
Exactly. Also, they were just, gifted, or they're just talented, or whatever, because they're not aware of it. So maybe I'm talented to speak, like 5 languages, but no, I learned that. I went through the process. I remember. But if you learn something, when you were a child, you don't remember.
True.
But now you're like, oh, you want to learn how to speak Chinese? You're going to go through these stages. But and it's so illogical.
You've done it, you made it, you were successful, and you went through this process, the pain, the challenge, everything. And then so knowing that and you got there, you could easily grasp the next challenge.
Exactly. If you really hold it in consciousness, that's the thing.
Yes.
We forget so much. It's like I saw this interview once, Jiddu Krishnamurti he was talking about it, and he said that if every woman would remember the pain of giving childbirth, no woman would have 2 children. It's very painful in the moment, but then you forget it, and then you have all the.
I say that about love.
Yeah.
Not everybody falls in love and then they're happy for the rest of their lives. Everybody has a broken heart, right? But don't stop loving people.
Yeah. That's why we're able to forget a lot of the negative to create the new, and then we don't associate it. But sometimes we also put ourselves in the same patterns. That's why it's important to, and again, it comes back to understanding yourself, understanding your patterns, understanding your strengths. Because that's the thing. We replay the negative, moments of our lives over and over, but we don't celebrate the positive ones over and over.
Somewhere along the way, when we become adults, we stop celebrating our successes.
Yeah. And that's why I think that these are rituals that we need to build in. And so that's the reason why I constantly put myself in these situations on a regular basis, because it's like a muscle you train.
Do you think that it'd be hard to be with someone like you, a partner that's constantly challenging themselves? They think, oh, Jesus, just relax a bit then. Just take it easy a bit, like, I'm off for a run, I'm doing parachuting, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I think that, well, on one hand, yes. I think that also depends on who you're with, right? Because I want to be with people who are actually challenging themselves more than me, or in different areas.
I'm talking relationships, mainly.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, but
was it easy for you to find a soulmate?
No, but I don't believe anything is supposed to be easy, and I believe that every partner that I was with that didn't work also brought me to a place to be able to even appreciate and see something in someone, It's like, like they say, all the wrong roads that I took got me to the perfect destination. Yeah. And that's kind of, when I look at it, is to be, and that's something that was difficult for me in the beginning. When you understand something for yourself and you see someone struggling, you want to help them to solve it, even though they didn't ask for your help. And then
they resent you afterwards.
Yeah.
They resent you.
There was a time
they were happy anyway.
Exactly.
Right?
And the best way to inspire anyone is by living it.
Yes.
Not by telling people what they should do. And a lot of people are projecting on others what they should do for themselves.
Yes.
So it's easy to tell someone how they should live their life, but you're not even sticking to the same things. You can find problems and help them with their problems, but your own problems you can't. So a lot of times it's a distraction from yourself, but then you feel like you know more, and then you're knowledgeable.
So sometimes changing the world is changing yourself first, and the environment around you changes.
It's always. Let's say, like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. I really believe that he meant that not only when you change yourself, you can affect and impact people around you, but when you change yourself, the world you see is not the same. So if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So when I let go of wanting to change people and being okay with it, because the only reason why something is a problem is because it bothers you. If it doesn't bother you, it's not a problem. Now the question is, why does it bother you? It shouldn't be like this because...
Tell you what bothers me. Maybe you can coach me here.
Okay, what bothers you?
Lack of respect.
From who?
I could be anyone. I'm very respectful. So I could be from client, it could be staff, could be spouse, it could be kids. I say please, thank you to everything. Maybe it's the way I've been brought up, right? But if I don't feel they say the same thing back, or they make a promise and don't deliver, it's lack of respect. Respect is, and I know it's an issue. I'm not saying it's right, okay, but somewhere along the way, my interpretation of that something, I love it if I didn't give a damn. I didn't give a damn to say thank you. I didn't give a damn if they didn't respect. I didn't give a damn if they didn't reply. I didn't give a damn.
So,
do you see where I'm coming from?
I know 100% where you're coming from.
And I'm kind of exposing myself here.
No, but I mean, it's important that we just look at ourselves, right? Because I have the same in so many different areas where we have to question ourselves first.
Yes.
The first thing I always do is, how can I take responsibility for my own emotion, right? Because I could be right. I could be like, someone comes and I draw the line and I'm like, someone is disrespecting me. Now, there are two ways to look at this. One is it really true? Like, is it their intention to disrespect me, or do I just feel disrespected? Because a lot of times people feel disrespected. I
feel disrespected.
So then it's just like, but sometimes people intend to disrespect me. And sometimes people don't intend to disrespect me. And that's something, because I was, always in so many different cultures, so many different environments. It's like something might be disrespectful in this country, in another country, so not at all, and in this country. So then as soon as you start to really, I got to a point where I almost felt, I understand how someone can be racist, because when I put myself in their shoes and how they, were raised and how they look at the world, I kind of understand it. And it was really a point where I was just like, but hold on, I'm still not going to let someone disrespect me to a certain point, even if I'm compassionate enough to understand it. But now is the second part where I'm like, okay, why does it bother me? Because right now someone might be somewhere saying something that could bother me, but because I'm not hearing it, it's not bothering me, right? But if I'm bothered by the fact that racism exists, or people like this exist, or people have a different opinion than me, and it bothers me, never, because I will always find something. So now I'm like, if I'm in a relationship, business relationship, it's a client, it's a partner, it's someone in my life that I decided, because that's the thing, I take ownership. Every single person, every single situation, every single thing that's in my life right now, I chose, directly or indirectly. And sometimes it's like habits. I just went to this place with my friend, I met this person, and then we started to hang out. We hung out 2-3 times, and boom, all of a sudden this person's part of my life. Now they have a behavior that I feel like is, and it's like now it's bothering me, and I need them to change for me to feel different.
You can't do that. You have to change the way you interpret things.
Exactly. Or I have to change the conditions. Which
or
a
walk,
lot of
or walk if they're not prepared.
That's what I mean. You could say, I'm not going to be in a relationship with that person anymore. I'm not going to be in a business relationship. I don't want a client like this.
Have you ever stayed in a relationship where you knew it wasn't good?
Yeah.
Too long.
Too long, yeah. And that's a thing, it's not black or white. A lot of times there's going to be so many mixed.
So even somebody as strong as you, so much awareness, you still sometimes or past but stay too long.
Because we become, and that's what what I meant earlier. It's like, it's not a moment in time. It's something gradual. Being conscious or being aware is a moment. I can be conscious right now. It's like people, they meditate right now, and in 5 minutes I'm stuck in traffic and I'm beeping the horn and insulting the person in the car next to me. I'm out of it again. Yeah. But then I can go right back. And that's, like when you have a plane, most of the time it's off track.
Autopilot,
there's turbulence, and then everything you go back to the center. Because if you go off track too long, boom, you end up in the wrong. Exactly. But the main goal is not to always be in the middle, but to bring yourself back. It's like recalibrating. And that's what I really believe. It's like you recalibrate, and that's how you actually really get to know yourself. Because you look at it and you observe, why did I stay like this?
You don't punish yourself, but you just keep learning and recalibrating.
I learned this exercise from Lisa Nichols, and I've been really using it repeatedly. they're like seven things you can tell yourself every day. And it's an exercise. It takes you literally like 3-4 minutes. You can do it every day. And it's a kind of a mini brainstorm. So you ask yourself every day, what are 7 things that I'm proud of? And it could be small things. That I woke up this morning at the time that I said, I did this, I didn't, I say thank you to this one person, and you just praise yourself. What is something I'm proud of? And then you can actually say it to yourself, like, I'm proud of yourself because and you look at the mirror and you talk to yourself. You create a relationship with yourself. And then you say 7 things that you forgive yourself for. Could be small things, could be big things. I forgive myself for doing this again. Reacting too fast.
Don't punish yourself, right?
Exactly. You have to be compassionate. Because, there's a difference between shame and guilt. Shame is I'm bad. Guilt is I did something bad. And then I can forgive myself, or I can, ask for forgiveness. Shame is this is who I am.
Yeah, you build your character based on it.
And
right?
that means I will always be like this.
Yes.
But
I'm a perfectionist.
Exactly.
I'm a perfectionist.
That's who I am.
Yeah.
And if I do something wrong, I'm just bad. So you forgive yourself, and then 7 things you commit to. And basically you created a brainstorm, because there's certain things I'm proud of that I'm now going to commit to continue. And certain things I'm ashamed of. Okay, but now what I commit to? I commit to apologize. I commit to, building myself up. I commit to, and that's the thing, it's like something that I had to learn for myself is really self-care. And self-care, especially, in an environment where especially as a man, where you feel like, don't cry, don't this, that, just keep moving, be hard, just move forward. A lot of times you don't care for yourself enough. And if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of no one. And it feels selfish sometimes. And when I say self-care, I don't mean going to a spa and relaxing. That's part of it.
It's a bit of self-love, right?
Yes.
Acceptance.
And healing your emotional
Honor
wounds.
yourself.
Yeah, healing your emotional wounds. Because, that's something that, there's a guy, I forgot his name. His name is Guy something. And he's a therapist. And he wrote a book, Emotional First Aid, it's called. And then he was really explaining this, how since we're children, we learn to respect our body. We brush our teeth every single day. If a child is 5 years old, falls down, cuts itself on the knee, we immediately go and know how to heal that, how to take care of that. But it's like if you didn't have daily rituals for brushing your teeth and you would just go to the dentist once a year, your teeth will fall out. But when it comes to emotions, we get hurt every single day.
Do nothing about it.
We self-medicate with the wrong tactics. So you get rejected. You feel pain. You feel shame when you're a child. How do you deal with it? You don't talk about it.
It becomes cancer, doesn't it?
Exactly.
You hold it within.
You hold it within. You create wrong assumptions about yourself, about the world, about people. And then you grow up, and that's what builds your character, that builds your behavior. Maybe you get rejected. That's why you're like, I'm never going to say something in front of anyone anymore. And now I become more introverted and shy because I'm afraid of judgment. And as an adult, if I could look back at that situation, I'll be like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. They didn't even mean that. You just misassessed and misinterpreted that situation. But because you don't remember now, I'm stuck as an adult in a pattern of behaviors that has nothing to do with reality, that is stuck there because I never learned how to deal with it. And he's like, even going to psychiatrists and things like that, people see it almost like a weakness. But if you get cut on your leg, or you have an accident, you'll immediately go to the hospital to fix it. You're not going to say, oh, you know what, I can still walk.
Okay. Yeah.
I can still walk, so I'm going to keep walking until it's so infected that I can't even walk anymore. That's when I'm going to go to the hospital. But that's when we do emotionally. Only when you can't function anymore at work or in society, then you will go and get yourself fixed. Until then, you're walking around emotionally crippled like that leg, limping around life. And that's why you're slow.
Emotionally, you're unlimited. It's the most powerful thing that drives you physically, right?
Exactly.
And we don't take care of it.
Because we don't even see it. We didn't create, patterns around it. And that's why, it is still something that it's being more and more accepted now, but it's still something that sometimes people see as a weakness. To get help, to talk about certain things, to say, you know what, I have emotional pain, to be like, I don't know how to cry. It's normal.
Do you have a coach?
I have a coach. I have several coaches in many different areas, because I believe that I have something, it's called the Mindset Transformer, where I really looked at all the areas that we need to look at. And most people look at knowledge, right? oh, I just need to know what to do, and then I just do it. That's why I read a book, and then once I understand it, I can do it. But and that's why a lot of people, when I coach them in the beginning, I tell them we're going to go straight to the basics, because people say, I know this, I know about this, yeah. But a lot of things are common sense when you hear them. But many things are common sense.
Do you really practice them? Do you really know them?
Exactly. It's common sense, but not common practice, right? So it's important to have the knowledge. It's important to know what to do, to have a blueprint.
Be aware.
Be aware of it. But then, if you can't take action on it, what's holding you back? And then really go back into your identity, your beliefs, and then from your identity and your beliefs, your thoughts, your regular thoughts are created with creating emotions, and that's what's standing in your way. But then your environment. And when you really look at your environment, it's the places, the people, the structures, the routines, time, and to really find out what your values are. Because a lot of people, and then we come back to the being honest to yourself. I have a financial coach, that I've been working with because I realized I don't have no financial intelligence. There were times I was making so much money, I was spending so much money that I never really learned how to deal with it. And it has nothing to do with numbers. It's all emotional, It's all emotional. And, so I started to work with him, and he said something that really impacted me, because he said, you can tell me your values all day long. Give me your calendar and your checking book, and I'll tell you what your values are. Because where you spend your money and when you spend your time shows you where really your values are. And it might not be in alignment with what you want your values to be.
I agree, 100% agree. When I came here, I was teaching people how to be rich, but I had no money. And it was so difficult because I wasn't aligned. I was teaching something that I didn't have in my hand.
And sometimes people say, oh, just shift your values and everything is going to fall into place. But how many people have a value like, I value health, but still they eat like shit and smoke? Because then you have to look at, okay, but what triggers that behavior? Where does it come from? What are you coping with? So, and that's why I believe that when it comes to people in your environment, you need to have a lot of people who are already where you want to be in all different areas. So I look at, for example, the wheel of life, and I'm looking at, okay, when it comes to relationships, where are my role models? How do I know how to communicate in relationships? How to really find these values? When it comes to finances, when it comes to business, when it comes to health, when it comes to everything. So now I'm like, okay, I need to find certain people, and that's the thing. I have role models in fitness.
Specific areas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because there might be a role model for me in business.
But not necessarily mean he's going to be fit and healthy or happy or relationships or whatever.
And that's what people do sometimes. They have one role model. That's what people are sometimes, they're kind of shocked when someone that's supposed to be a role model, and then they find out a scandal about whatever, they love life or they have a drug problem. I'm like, that doesn't take anything away from that they're a genius in music, So that's a role model for me in this area. But I have role models in this area and in an environment. So the reason why I, for example, I have a high level when it comes to fitness, because all the people I train with are either personal trainers or professional athletes. These are the people in this environment. But I don't necessarily sit down with these people and talk about business ideas, because some of them don't have the right mindset around that. Sure. So I'm like, I'm going to talk about this with other people. So I have these peers.
How do you find these peer groups?
This is, again, it's connected to places.
People are sitting there going, that sounds great, but how do I find the rich guy? Or financially stable guy or comfortable guy who's going to help me? I get emails every day. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Or can you find me a job? Okay. And then one thing I say, send me your CV plus a letter explaining you from the heart why you're the superstar I'm looking for. Do you know what they do?
Yeah.
Nothing. They don't even bother.
But that's the thing.
They don't bother sending a letter, but they want to cut and paste the CV and send it.
I think that we are living in a time where you can get in touch with anyone, first of all. So where you find these people, you can find. Anyone you want to find, you will find.
Yes.
Now, the thing is that you're going to have limitations, because a lot of people are going to feel like, yeah, why should this person help me? Or why, and that's the thing. It's like, I have a couple of filters that I apply on everything, right? But if I want to have certain people in my life, first of all, I need to be, it's like everything. I want to have a specific client. I want to have a specific partner. I want to have where do you find these people? So you need to go to certain places where people are, right? Because if I'm in this place, it's not going to be the same as if I'm in this place. Yes. So the chances, the probability is bigger. Then, instead of asking myself, what can this person do for me? I need to ask myself, what can I do for this person? Then I need to ask myself, who do I need to be so that these people want to spend time with me, right? The sooner I start to ask myself this question.
There's a whole lot of calculations and thought process behind meeting someone and getting it right, because you can meet someone, like you said, at any time, but you could screw it up.
Exactly. And I feel that me coming into a new environment when I was 12 years old, I wasn't doing anything else. Who do I need to be to a certain extent to kind of connect on a certain level? It's like I come into a new world, like we came to Dubai. So you need to understand that things are different here. People are different here. There's different dynamics. There's but everyone has certain needs. And I always look at energy. So I've broken down energy in 5 different areas, because all we have is energy. Mental energy, emotional energy, physical energy, time, and money. These are the 5 areas of energy, and they are interchangeable. So you want to make money, you're investing time, you're investing mental and emotional energy, physical energy. Sometimes you pay someone. So if they know more than you, it's mental energy. They can teach you something, or you can delegate work that they do.
But you've extended energy by paying them, right?
Exactly.
Money is energy.
It's an exchange. Maybe you don't like doing something. It's costing you a lot of emotional energy. So you pay someone, they take that away, it frees up the energy, and you can put that more to create more. So it's a cycle. Now, when I look at how can I provide value, I look at the 5 levels of energy. So it's like, okay, maybe I can teach someone something, mental energy. I can take away something from them mentally. Or emotionally, maybe they just like you. Some people they just like being around you. You
inspired by you, yeah.
Exactly. You raise their energy level. You're a friendly person, your character, physical energy. A lot of people in the beginning, when I got in touch with them, they were more advanced when it came to business, but they wanted to spend time with me because they could work out with me. I can teach them certain things. So their physical energy was raised from that. They're just like, I want to, can you teach me? I wasn't a personal trainer, but I know so much about nutrition that I can do a plan for them. And then I help them on an energetic level to become a better version of themselves. Or time. Can you save someone time by introducing them to someone that's going to bring them money? So how can you make this person more money, save them time, physical, emotional, or mental energy? And if I cannot bring any value to someone in any of these 5 areas, it's either because I don't know enough, because I'm not interested and I'm not studying that person well enough. The worst thing is people, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, you just need to bring value to someone. They message you, tell me if I can do anything for you. So now,
don't you hate that?
Now it's my job.
Networking.
Now,
hi Ben, how can I help you?
Now it's my job to find out what you can do for me. Yeah. So
it's like you woke up this morning thinking, I've got a major headache. I hope somebody can help me.
Exactly. So you're burdening that person with that choice. Yes. So first of all, I need to study. I need to study successful people. I need to see, okay, where can I bring value? And if I study them and I can't bring any value in any of these areas, I need to become a person that can create that value. And now I know what to do next.
Wow.
And then if I ask
what
myself,
you're saying is, your moves, the reason you're successful is your moves are all strategized. It's thought through.
Yeah.
Not days and weeks before you go to a networking event, but you have these calculations in your head, right?
Yeah, it's like a filter almost. And it's like a lot of these things I did intuitively, but you can break it down. It's just like you see patterns. And when you study successful people, some of them, they might not even know that they're using these strategies, but they are. And then when you look at 100 successful people, and especially the people that I know in my life, because I can ask them questions. See, we see the front stage performance. We don't see the behind the scenes. But if I ask you specific questions, so how did you feel the first time you were on stage? How did you feel when you did this? When you started the business and you had your first employee, was it hard for you? Was it easy for you? Now you have 90 employees and it's just like, wow, it just feels like, but how was it when you had the first 5? Was it frustrating?
Well, here's the thing, you're not too afraid to ask. Most people think if I ask, it shows weakness.
And that's a wrong assessment.
Exactly.
And that's a wrong interpretation. Exactly. And that's why it's so important that we look at, these are the beliefs. People are like, oh, why should I contact someone? Maybe, because I coach so many.
I will look desperate. I'm like, make the call.
When I came to Dubai, I contacted around 100 people in the first 2 months that were in the film industry, and just contact them and just meet them randomly. Anyone. Could be a makeup artist, a camera person, someone from an agency. And that's one of the questions I ask so many people, the entrepreneurs that are in my coaching program. And they're like, yeah, you know what? I want to start this. I want to be on this level in 1 year. I want to have this. Okay. How many people do you know personally who are on that level that you can exchange with? No one. Most, like 95% tell me no one. Okay, why not? Let's go into it.
Did you phone them to coach them? You made 100 calls. What was the reason for calling when you arrived here, you said you made 100 calls, right?
Yeah.
What was the reason? What was your purpose of making those 100?
My purpose was, and that's the thing, because so the limitation. I'm just going to talk about the limitation,
Sure.
and then I'm going to talk about why I did it.
We're still going to go back to university.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're stuck at the video editing side of the production.
That's good. You got the
how
good
many hours do we
timeline,
have?
man. So basically, because these thoughts can come up. These are resistances. These are objections to actually doing something, right? And every time someone says, I can't do something, right? I can't just go up to these strangers and talk to them. I can't talk to this woman. I can't just raise my prices. It's never I can't. You can write down a list of everything you can't do. I can't do this. I can't do that. And you cross
can do
out.
it all. It's just whether you want to or not.
Exactly. You cross out can't and you say, I don't want to. And then you say because.
Then you take ownership.
And once you say, I don't want to do this because, you find out all the beliefs that are behind it. And then you can look at each one and see, is it even true? And you can actually flip them around and you can find reasons why they're not true. These are a lot of things that we do in our mind, but once we write it on paper, in your mind it's subjective. When you write it on paper, it's subjective. And now you can look at it from a distance and actually analyze it. That's why we can give advice to other people, but sometimes we can take the same because we're emotionally stuck in it. So people tell me, yeah, but they're my competition. Why would they help me? Why would they give me advice? Why this, why that? I'm like, do you know any of it? You don't know. This is your belief. This is what you believe. You believe that this is what they think, but it's actually your thought that you're putting in their mind.
And do you know what happens? You push them, they make the call, and the guy says exactly what they've been focused on. They come and say, I told you, my market research says
exactly.
I was right. I'm like,
100% of people out of one person.
One person I called.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Law of averages, right? So that was the one thing, law of averages. I knew, so the thing is this, before I came to Dubai, and that was kind of a pattern, I had one of the craziest jobs ever. That was actually my only job that I ever had. In Germany. So I was living in Cologne and,
let's go back a bit, right?
Okay.
University to Cologne. Because we're never going to go past university.
Yes.
So you got your...
University.
Yeah.
So basically...
I'm going to write Cologne so we don't forget.
After university, I have a friend of mine who, his dad, his uncle actually was like selling cars, buying cars, selling cars.
Were you into health and fitness then?
Yeah.
Okay, so always been. It wasn't like, you got this story like I was like 25 stone and 170 kilos.
I don't have that. Like this is something that I had, my mom was a sports and biology teacher.
Okay.
So from the age, I don't know, since I can walk, I've been doing, she put me in the water when I was a baby, when they hold the air, in the water and stuff. So my mom, she taught us so much about biology, about the human body. And then, I tried, and same thing that happened in Holland, in the first year, my parents did with me in sports. So basically they put us in, I did everything.
Try it all.
Everything. But once you try something, you have to do it for a period of time. Don't do something twice and then decide if you like it or not. So I did gymnastics, judo, track and field, basketball, everything. Like I literally did everything, swimming. So sports was a big part of my life. Tennis, like I did everything. But like to a point where you actually become good at it, because that's what, you don't enjoy something when you're not good at it, right? So and there's so many different concepts and principles. When you do something for 20 hours, then you reach a level where it becomes easier. And before that, and then that's kind of the conscious incompetence, and then conscious competence. These kind of levels. So once you reach a level where, oh, okay, I'm winning some games. I'm actually able to.
I might be pretty good at this.
Exactly. Yeah. That's when it starts to be fun. But most people never reach that stage because they judge it prematurely. So that was kind of something that always was with me. But I was always very skinny. I had a high metabolism. I was very thin. And when I was 17, I was playing basketball. I was always getting injured. Always, my knee here, my leg there. And I went to the doctor and he said, you're too skinny. Your bones you have to start lifting weights. Wow. And that's when I actually started. And that was not popular back then, So didn't have many gyms. It was super expensive. My dad was like, because the doctor said I have to lift weights, So I had a gym membership. I didn't know what to do. The trainers there, they were like, just do circuit training, whatever. But I started. And because I was always a fan of Bruce Lee, Muhammad Ali, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You know my story about Muhammad Ali, don't you?
Your story about Muhammad Ali.
You don't know my story?
No, I don't know the story.
I'll tell you another day.
Okay.
We
got to do this back. I'm going to interview you on my podcast.
We have to. There's a book outside, Muhammad Ali signed book outside.
Really?
I'll show you. There's only like 100 of those.
You met him personally?
Tell you the story.
Oh.
It's because of Muhammad Ali I have this business.
Okay, so check out my YouTube channel to see the other side of the story, because this is going to be interesting.
I'll hold it. We do a podcast on yours.
Yeah.
It's blows you away what happened to me, how I met Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
And how that connecting the dots made me have this company today. But before that, I was a one-man band. I was a sales and marketing consultant selling my time. And for 3 years I was asking, how can I have a business that I'm not selling my time anymore? Miracle happened, the company started. And it was all to do with Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
I never met him before. It was in my goal to meet him.
Man, this is...
Yeah.
I'm
an Iranian guy. All I remember was my dad. I lost my dad when I was 3. And he used to put me on my lap and to watch the Ali fight. So all I remember of my dad was that sitting on his lap, watching his black and white Joe Frazier fights. So I just followed his career because I had that emotional attachment to my father, right? And so when I had a heart attack, I took sabbatical and I wrote a list of goals. I was going to have a school of orphans. We have a school of 250 orphans we look after in Thailand. I was going to find and inspire children because adults let you down. They screw you behind your back. I was going through a tough time. And then I found out Muhammad Ali had a center called the Ali Center in Louisville, Kentucky. And the idea was to bring that here into Dubai. So when I arrived here, I chased that goal to bring the Ali Center here.
Wow.
And the rest is history. I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah. Wow, because I'm not like starstruck or anything like that, but I was always like, if there's one person that I would love to just shake his hand, just Muhammad Ali. There's the only person that was ever on my list.
I think he's one of the greatest human. He had his faults.
Yeah.
He had many faults.
Yeah.
But one of the greatest human beings ever lived.
Yeah. And it's like...
And they call him a coward, because he didn't fight in the Vietnam War. And he stood in the ring with the toughest human beings on earth, and they call him a coward.
But you see, honestly, I believe that just that part, to stand against public opinion and
in the
knowing
60s, in the early 70s, you know how difficult that was.
That's what actually makes you a hero to me.
Yes.
People will call you a coward and try to shame you because you're not going along and you're standing by your convictions, and you said it yourself. You have your own values. And I'm like, my value does not allow me to go in a war.
Everything at the peak of his career.
And that's what no one will do.
No one. They'll take the money. They'll take all the rewards.
And you're selling your soul.
Yeah.
So to me, that is actually a prime example of, you know what, even if it's unpopular, even if I'm going to lose everything, I'm going to stick by it because it's more valuable. I'm not going to fight and kill people in a war that I don't believe in. And I mean...
Let's do another one just based on Muhammad Ali.
Let's do it.
Because I swear.
Because honestly, to me also, what attracted me the most in the beginning, because I was not interested in boxing. And that's what I believe a real...
But Muhammad Ali's boxing life is only this.
Exactly.
It's a little bit.
You have an impact through boxing, but actually, same thing with even Bruce Lee, to me, was more about the philosophy and the mindset behind it that impacted me more than watching his movies, about karate. Yes. But what really got me when I was younger and I was shy and I was introverted was how confident he was. I was just like, wow, man, to me, he's like one of the most confident people that I've ever seen captured on camera. Because maybe there were people, 2,000 years ago, we don't know, we have never seen them. We can hear stories.
Napoleon, Alexander the Great, all these people, right?
But we don't know how they were talking, how they were, and
but
Muhammad Ali.
That's certainty. That's certainty. And he was uneducated.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's where, it's just like, because you have different forms of intelligence, you have emotional intelligence, social intelligence. You don't only have, like the book smart. And that's what a lot of people put too much emphasis on. So a lot of self-made millionaires or entrepreneurs that bootstrapped, they didn't study business. They figured it out. It's good to have both, but that's the thing. You learn by doing. That's when you get, yeah, man. Like that's kind of what I did. So basically, when I came out of university,
we're there again.
Yeah.
We'll never go forward, right?
When I came out of university, see, the thing is, I think that a lot of people are crippled now because they have too much information. Even though we have access to the internet and to the wisest people in the world, we can get confused. The opposite side is trying to reinvent the wheel and not knowing anything. Where I was, I didn't have no one to really show me. I didn't have the access. Like everything.
Did your dad ever make it in business? Was he ever like really successful? Has he always been struggle? I hope he doesn't mind.
Yeah, not struggling, but like never. He's like boom, like what he really expected.
He's always had to work it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's been better and worse, but it's always been like sustainable, yes. But never like really exploded, Did
your mom stick it out with him?
Yeah.
That's nice.
They're still together,
that's
and
good.
it's
it's a good example to set.
Yeah, it's really like a tag team,
Yeah, and you saw people making sacrifices to make the ultimate. relationship or
exactly.
Nice.
So it's ups and downs. That's what makes you, you know, and that's the journey. And it's like kind of and you know that was kind of the biggest. I don't want to say mistake because it always feels like I should have done it differently. You know, I couldn't have done it differently because I didn't know. And that's what led me to change it later on. Because I tried to do everything on my own. I didn't want to ask anyone for help. I didn't want to make it look like I didn't know. Exactly. You know, and I felt like, and I actually even didn't know who to ask. Because that's the thing. Back then, it was just like, who is in your environment is your environment. You know, like, of course you could go to other cities and you can figure out, but it's like, if your mindset is stuck, if the people around you don't do certain things, you don't have the examples, and I just didn't have certain ideas. Mm-hmm. So it's not that you're not smart enough or you're not this, it's just sometimes really like you don't have the right role models in your environment, so you don't, you know, think about it. Sure. And so what I did was, I had a friend of mine who was, you know, he's buying cars and selling cars and stuff, and in the beginning he was like, come with me, because we're going to go with one car, buy a car, and then you can help me to drive it back, you know. And then I got into that world and said, hey, you know, let's put money together and let's do it together, you know, because I was like, that's cool. You just drive around and then
make money at the end of the journey.
Yeah, and then maybe you sell the car in 3 weeks, so you drive around with it, you know, for 3 weeks. So it's like, well, it's like cool cars and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's nice. And then on the side, I was like, I mean, I know how to film videos. And it was kind of new, you know, like you just started to have, you know, that was when 2005, 2006.
Internet was new.
Exactly. People didn't really understand that doing a video about your business is that, what is that going to do? Wow. You know, like this, you still have these conversations, you know? So I was like, okay, you know what? In the beginning, I wasn't good at selling. I was like, and I didn't believe I could receive money for what I was doing. So what I did was I exchanged services. So like, what is something that I would spend money for? A gym. I wanted to learn Spanish because, I was like, we were selling cars from Germany to like France to like Holland, but the more south you go, the more money you can get for it, you know? So in Spain, for German cars, you get more money than if you sell them in Germany. Wow. So then I was like, oh, and I was always, my mindset was, I can learn any language, you know? That's why, you know, I was just like, French, Spanish is very close. I'm going to learn Spanish, and then we're going to sell cars in Spain. I give myself 1 month to learn Spanish. So I went to Spanish school. And they have like classes, it's just Spanish school, not language, just have Spanish. So from morning till night, they have just different classes of Spanish. I said, I'm gonna come here, I'll shoot a video for you guys, and I just come here for free. And he said, okay, cool. That was the first person I did a video for. I went to a gym, same thing. I went to a place where they sell supplements. I said, hey, give me supplements for the next month and I'll do a video for you. And it was like, okay, let's do an exchange. And I started to exchange services. Wow. Everything that I would spend money for, I just did a video for them, you know? Wow. and then I got my portfolio.
That's entrepreneurial, right?
It is, you know? I got the video and I was like, because the gym, I'm like, they're not losing anything. One person more or less that's coming in that gym.
The costs are the same,
It's the same, so, you know? And then I had the one video. I went to another gym and I'm like, oh, they did a gym, they paid me $1,000, so you need a video as well. And then that's how I got my first clients, you know? So I had the portfolio and I just went and experimented and that's how, you know, things started, you know, and then I kind of did that at the same time, you know, selling cars, buying cars, doing that on the side.
Did you ever develop a company or you were just by yourself?
I was a freelancer.
Editing,
shooting, editing,
selling,
doing everything. I did everything by myself, you know? Write the script, film. Sometimes I was even acting in one of the scenes, and you know, so I just did everything, and I took a lot of pride in doing everything by myself. Because in the art academy, it was a lot about, you know, like you're the artist and you create art, you know, and I didn't think about delegating and being efficient.
It's not business.
It was not business.
Yeah, it was art.
And they didn't teach us anything about business. Mm-hmm. They taught us how to do videos, not how to sell one video. You know, that's it. So I didn't know, and then yeah, so I kind of figured it out by myself until, and then that's when there was a turning point because. I was in Hamburg city where the hamburgers come from, and I was there for like 2 months. I did like an apprenticeship.
I've been in Hamburg. I like.
Oh yeah, okay, it's a nice city.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I met an uncle of mine that I never met before because he was living in the States when we were living in the Ivory Coast, and he was in Hamburg. My dad was there as well, so he introduced me to him. Sat down with him, and he kind of looked through me like this. He asked me a couple of questions and he said, oh yeah, I think that you're really good at communication and I think your limitations is here and this and this. And I was like, he doesn't know me. No one knows these things about me. Yes. I was like, what is that? What is he doing? And he was coaching me and I didn't know. He asked me a couple of questions and he was so confident and I asked him, it's like, how did you learn to do what you're just doing? And then he told me that is a very wise question. Coming back to what you said that, you know, people are afraid to ask questions. He said, you know what? Because you're asking me this question, it tells me that you already know that this is a skill that's learnable. Otherwise, you just assume this is the way I am. You say, how did you learn this?
Accept it, yeah.
So I'm going to give you a list of books have a look at them, and then you'll know more.
And then he would check to see if you're committed, because if you hadn't read the books, you didn't buy them, no hope.
Exactly.
Right? But you went out and got the books.
He got me a list, and that's where the first time I got in touch with personal
first
development.
book?
Tony Robbins, Personal
Unleash
Power
the
2.
Power. Oh, okay.
But the program, I did,
Right,
because
right.
the thing is, I was
You got the whole
always
tapes,
audiovisual.
CDs.
Yes.
You got the CDs.
I was always
I had
audiovisual. I was like, books, I need to get the audios, So I started to listen to Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, and I listened to a couple, Tony's voice, immediately. I was like, well, he got my attention.
Wow.
So that's why I started with Tony. I had Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy. These are what I did.
Have you done the
first
Tony's courses?
Yeah.
Master University and all that? You've done the...
No, I didn't actually go to the live ones, but I did like all the, the online programs.
I'll
like
tell you
everything.
all about it.
Okay.
I'm part of that organization.
Oh, okay,
so
good.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you all about
that's something that...
I'm going to... actually going to Holland in March or May of 2021.
Okay.
All business courses. So maybe we can go together.
Okay, yeah.
We'll discuss
That's really something that I want to do.
Tony live.
Because
he doesn't do them all live anymore now. He only does...
UPW and things like that.
No, UPW, yes, because that's the funnel, right?
Yeah.
He gets to 12,000 people, sells it, and it goes out to the massive. But then it's platinum partnership.
Yeah.
It's about $150,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, Tony. So that's when it started.
Did you go to September one in Dubai?
No, I couldn't make it.
That was our event. Najahi did it, but we sold the tickets.
Ah, okay.
Najahi came to us and said we got 3 months, sell 14,000 tickets. So
yeah.
We were the marketing people behind it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, I just saw the poster and I was
and
like,
I know you work with Najahi as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah,
that's
I'm a
good.
speaker with Najahi, and because I had it's like 2 times they had like big events and I couldn't do it because I had my own, event going on in Germany, and
they use Spencer.
Hmm?
They use Spencer Lodge on stage, and you did the Najahi tribe. They've asked me to, but I haven't had the chance to go around.
Yeah.
Developing a program for them.
Yeah. Well, I think there's still time.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
So off camera. So tell me. And then what brought you to Dubai? So you built this. You met your uncle. Uncle said books, CDs.
That's
watch Tony
when everything
Robbins.
changed for me. That's when everything changed.
You must have been only about 25, 26 then, right? So
yeah. I was.
Who's going to listen to a 26-year-old?
Huh?
Who's going to listen to it? No, seriously, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to listen to a 26-year-old coaching them about life?
Yeah. And it's like
You had every reason not to do it, right? Because you're too young and.
Due to do what?
To coach people.
I wasn't even thinking about that at that time.
Your own personal development.
Yeah, that was for myself. Like that's really when I applied everything that I heard. Like I didn't really just listen to it. And one of the main areas that I looked at was because it was talking about, like shifting your beliefs and limitations. It was my introversion, my shyness, because I was still to that point. And I was and that was one thing that changed because I was doing an apprenticeship with one of the top he was the top directors for commercials in Germany. Marcus Walter is his name. And he I did an apprenticeship for like 2 months in Hamburg. And they were shooting like the most expensive, best, commercials, in Germany. And I was on set with him. And he was cool, and when he met me, he saw me and was like, oh, this guy's probably a cool guy and stuff, come with me. And he didn't, I was on set in my corner, observing like a tourist. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't ask, how can I help? How can I, I didn't want to disturb anyone. I didn't want to bother anyone. Like, they're all professionals. They're doing their thing, this and that. And, sometimes he introduced me to people. Hi.
And I'll just stand there. Corner, yeah.
And then he was like, it's funny because you had like the best camera people, the team, the agencies, like the clients, they were on set, and then there was like a party. Like for, all the different agencies, they're like an agency party. They invited everyone, from the film industry and stuff, and they were there. And then that night, you always have these moments where you slip out of that role, You drink a little bit, you feel good and stuff like that. And I was there and I had my afro, and I was just like vibing with everyone and cool, making jokes. And I was a different version of myself. Sometimes we have that. We step out. Maybe you're on vacation or you're with the right people. You're a different person.
The moment is right.
Exactly. The moment was right. And he saw that. And the next day, he talked to me and he said, in German, they have the saying, du musst aus dir rauskommen, which means you have to come out of yourself. Not you have to become someone else. You're already there. You just have to show it. You just have to step out of it. He said, because you have so many opportunities. You could connect to the best camera people, the best people in the industry. We're here on set. You're not talking to no one. All the opportunities are just going by. Why? I don't understand. There's no reason.
And he gave you the forum. He gave you the arena.
Exactly. He
He
challenged me. And I was like, you know when you're like, yeah, I know, you know you should, but something in me is holding me back. Like I could just go to this person and say, hey, what's up? And all these filters, oh, what are they going to think about? What if I say something wrong? What is that? All that is just shutting it down, and I'm just like, and the moment passes by. And it passes by again and again. And then I was just like, that's the problem. It's like, I know I need to change something, but I'm so stuck in my identity, I don't know how. And now, boom, Tony Robbins. And I start to go into personal power too. And I start to do the exercises. And I'm just like, what the hell is this? Like, I've never heard of this before. So I really went in it. When I say study, like, I didn't do the program one time. I did like 10 times. Like, I reached the end of 30 days. I do it again. And I do it again. And every time I hear something else. And I go out and I practice it. You know, say step into this identity, go on the streets, talk to 10 people, and change and be a different version of yourself, and talk to the next person and play and act. I did everything. And on top of it, because I saw so many correlations to filmmaking. You know, you just step into a new character, you act. And then when this happened, it's funny because I'm a fast learner. And it's, to me, it's like a new reality. Literally, like I didn't see the world the same, you know, after like a year of doing this. But and what was funny is I got the opportunity to have a job. That job changed everything. I was a flight carrier for a year, like almost a little bit over a year. And I was just like, I never heard that this job even exists.
Is this something important documents you take?
Important documents, or sometimes, you know, like microchips, or just something that needs to be per express.
Hand.
They give it to you.
Somebody sign it off.
Exactly. You go into a plane, and the thing is this: you don't know. They call you. Are you free? Yes. And you can say no, and then they just call someone else. In the beginning, I said, I'm just going to do it 2-3 times a month. I'm not going to exaggerate. It becomes like a drug. Because they call you, are you free? Yes. Be at the airport in 3 hours, you go into Mexico, you know? And now it's just like, I have 2 suitcases, one for cold weather, one for because I never know where I got to go.
You know what's the worst thing to ask you? Did you pack this yourself? It's my job. Yeah.
Yes, they always ask you. You know, did you check? Because you have to check. You never know what's inside,
yes,
you know?
Exactly.
I traveled to over 70 countries in 1 year. Boom, 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 boom. And in the beginning, I was just going, and then I was just like, man, I was spending time by myself. I was in a plane, in a car, in a train, in a hotel room, and then I went back into all the, you know, the tapes, writing things down, visualizing my future, everything. So I had so much time by myself, because that's also the thing. I was out of the environment of people and places where I was before. And now distractions are gone, and I'm all over the world meeting people. And I was just like, that's when it shifted. When I said, you know what? This is a window to the world. But if I sit in my hotel room every single day and I won't talk to no one,
it's not going to come to you.
Nothing is going to happen. You can travel the entire world and you're not going to meet anyone. And that's when I started to really apply these things. So it was not like now with social media. But still, every time, because I didn't have much time. Sometimes it's like, tomorrow I'm flying to Japan, or in 3 hours I got to take a plane. So I just went. There was already Facebook, so I had Facebook, and I had Xing. It was Xing. I think LinkedIn already existed, and I just post a message, send out to everyone. Who knows someone that lives in Mexico? Who knows someone that's here? And sometimes like, oh, I went to school with someone that's there, or oh, my uncle has a. And then I just meet random people. Hey, I'm in your city, because sometimes like they book a flight and you stay for like 2-3 days. Because they don't book the flight back because it's more expensive. Exactly. So you stay on the weekend and stuff.
So the next available flight.
I went all over the world meeting people that I would never meet and just sitting with them. You know, sometimes people much older than me, people are much different, and then you learn about so many things that exist, industries, stories, and I just became like it's almost like doing interviews with people in real life.
Yeah, you're a sponge.
I was a sponge.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to Dubai. Because I flew everywhere, and then one place where I came was Dubai, because Dubai is a transit city anyways, you know, so I went to Manila, came back, boom, you know, stayed here, met someone, stayed here for a month, got the opportunity to start a business here with someone,
what did you do?
Video production and media, video production, and it didn't go the way I wanted, you know, it's a very, you know, fast decision. Basically, what happened is I didn't really save much money. I was traveling the world. I was enjoying myself. I was just like, I'm just good. This is an adventure for me. Wherever I am, like all the money that I made as a flight carrier, I spent, you know. So totally different from the most of the other German, you know, because sometimes you have a job where you fly with someone. And I was with one guy who was like in Mexico. And then he was just in a very cheap hotel. He stayed there.
Save.
Watching videos from morning to night. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not renting a car. I'm not going. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, we'll be here for 5 days.
Experience.
Exactly. Let's go. And he's like, no. I'm not going. If you rent the car, I come with you, but I'm not going to participate. And I was like, what is this? You know? But I'm like, okay, he's saving more money than me. You know?
Sure.
Maybe he's smarter. But I was just like, I'm just going to go all out. So I was at the point where I had no money. I had only $1,000, and then
you have no idea how similar you and I are.
I had $1,000.
I did the same job with TNT, by the way.
Oh, really? I never met anyone that did a job like this. So
I became a international sales director at TNT, but that's how I started that job. In 6 months, I came from the carrier.
What year was that?
1996 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
TNT International, Dutch company.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's. I mean, this.
I didn't know that existed, but it was at that time. Fax machines were the only thing, right? Telex and fax. So I used to carry mainly lawyers' legal documents to be signed off.
Yeah.
So I knew it was an envelope. It wasn't items, microchips.
Yeah, no.
Microchips were like this big then. So 5 megabyte hard drive was this big.
We had crazy things. Sometimes oversized luggage. You know, like the first thing I had was a cheese manufacturing company in Rwanda, and they had like a huge machine, and they had like a fan, like that, literally like 3 times the size of this TV right there, and it's like a huge box, and you know, so sometimes it's like crazy, you know, you just like, how am I
mine was
transporting
always
this?
documents.
Oh,
it was always documents.
No, we had all different
I literally
things.
go pick up the document from the lawyers and go to New York and deliver the document.
Yeah,
amazing,
crazy
right?
job. When you tell people that, it's just like, what are you doing?
I got it straight away. It was like I met somebody else who was doing this,
and there was no
loved
social
it.
media.
I loved it. Sometimes I got first class flights.
Yeah, they upgrade you all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, that's
really
good.
cool.
Well, you know about that life. But yeah, sometimes I'm thinking, man, if I had, because that's the thing, I had a video camera and everything, but just because there was no vlogging, I didn't even have the idea to just document all of it. I didn't think about this. That's why now I'm so careful with documenting my life now, because there's so many years that were just so many things that are gone, you know, like in my mind, you know, but even that, I don't trust my mind that much, you know, so that's what happened. And then I came to Dubai. And then I had this mindset already, you know, because you asked me, you know, like, how did I really contact? So the first year I started a business in Abu Dhabi with a business partner. I made the choice very fast, literally, because I was in Dubai. I met a couple of people. I decided to stay here for like 5 days, and then I extended another week and extended another week. Ended up spending a month, and I just loved the energy. I met so many people in a short period of time, and so much.
Although it was Dubai, your business was in Abu Dhabi.
Yes. So when I came, the first business was in Abu Dhabi, 2454.
Okay.
And but before I made the choice, I was here, you know, as a flight carrier, and I stayed here. And then I had the opportunity to start, you know, something. And then once there's an idea in my mind, I'm like, I can't just wait. Okay? And I was like, I don't have no money. Everyone was telling me, you can't just go to Dubai with $1,000. What are you going to do if this doesn't work? What are you going to do this? What are you
all the ifs. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Worst case, I can always come back here. What do I have to lose?
It's a flight, and I'm used to flying. That's why I used to say, I fly everywhere. You just pack my case and move if it doesn't work out, right?
You become so flexible.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different. That's why the people in your environment, they can't understand that, because they wouldn't be able to be in that environment without constantly worrying about it. You know, and it's like, so what? Even if I have no money, I call someone up. Hey, can you please book me a ticket? I pay you back, and I come back, sleep on someone's couch, and I just do it over again. You know, what's the problem? You know. So I said, I called the company because I didn't have enough money to pay for my visa and for the flight. So I said, man, you know, maybe if they have a flight that goes in the area, I just do that. So they pay for the flight ticket anyway. I go deliver the package anywhere.
I'll stay.
And I stay. So I said, if they call me in a month, because you don't always have something in that direction, I will go in a month. If they call me tomorrow, I go tomorrow. 2 days later, they call me, we have something in Qatar. Ever since then, I live in Dubai.
Wow.
The rest is history.
1 year, partner wasn't right.
Wasn't right, and then I decided I'm just going to do my own thing. Left the business relationship with nothing again, you know, and then I kind of was homeless here in Dubai for like 9 months, you know. Stayed at friend's place, but you know, here in Dubai, it's like you have so many things that open up. A friend of mine has like a penthouse somewhere in Marina, and I stayed there for 3 months, you know, like have an elevator to go from floor 1 to floor 2 and stuff. Wow. So it's like, when it sounds like homeless in Dubai, it sounds more dramatic than it actually is.
You didn't sleep in the car.
I didn't sleep in the car,
or on the park bench.
But yeah, that's something where I actually reenacted in the beginning some of the similar things that I did in the beginning, you know, like, kind of exchanging my services for things that I would spend money on, you know, like a rental company, did a video for them, and I just got a car, and then I was staying at someone's place, and then for a restaurant I just did video, then I could eat there, and then just literally I didn't need no money.
I did that for Rimal Bawadi.
Rimal Bawadi?
I did their marketing for free food. Amazing, right?
You know, but that's the thing, you know, you know, the thing is this, I could have sold them, you know, something, but because I was in a position where I was just like, I just need to right now not worry about anything to be able to function and build myself back up. That's what I did, you know, and then it took me like 9 months, and you know, I started up my own company, and then I started, you know, producing videos for, you know.
Do you still have that company now?
No,
producing videos?
I closed it.
Right. So now it's coaching, personal development. You do business coaching as well.
No, so basically I coach entrepreneurs and business owners, but on mindset. So I don't coach business strategies.
Can you help me?
Yeah.
I'll tell you where I am now. I guess we're multimillionaires, I guess, right? We have huge turnover. I want to go to billionaire status, and I have an idea that I'm sitting on, and I was sat on it for 5 years. It's revolutionary, but for some reason, I've been delaying the pitch deck because I feel I've never raised money before, and something's holding me back to go and pitch venture capitalists to raise the money. Could you help me with that?
I can help you with that.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset, Ben. And it's really bugging me. Desperation, fear of failure, getting no, rejected, my dream not coming true. Or is it the fact that I really don't see myself as a billionaire? I don't know. Could you help me that?
I can help you with
Done.
that.
Let's do it.
And you know, the thing is that it's so interesting because they're the same patterns, you know, because I coach people who are just starting with their business and they're in the beginning and they're not sure if they can make it or not. Then you have people who've already been doing it for 10 years and they're at a certain level, but they want to get to the next level, but they, you know, like, and again,
yes, it's that next level one.
And these blocks are the same. It's just the external, you know, challenge looks different, or the level is different, but the internal emotion and thought process is very similar.
With you. I don't want to take too much of it. We've been like 2 hours, right? It's amazing. So when I came to Dubai, nobody knew me. I was charging 7,000 dirhams per month for my services, and they got me for I think 2 half days a month, the clients. I got fully booked 6 days a week, 7 days a week, 2 clients a day. But then it reached a standard where I wanted a higher, better standard of living, but I couldn't.
No more time.
No more time, and those clients couldn't pay me more. So what I did, I sacked all my clients. Okay, and people thought I was crazy. Doubled my prices, within 2 months fully booked, doing exactly the same thing. Doing exactly the same thing, people were paying me 14,000 dirhams a month. Did it again, 25,000 dirhams a month, fully booked. And I teach that now. I think it's only my mindset that's changed. The service was the same, the ingredients was the same, everything was the same, and the clients were always there. But I just priced myself too low. So I'm good at teaching it, but when it comes to this, the next level up to billionaire, to selling it to Amazon for $1 billion, I was just like, would I get found out? Am I worthy? I don't know what it is. It's holding me back.
And you see what you just described is that in reality, the limitation when it comes to pricing is never in the mind of the buyer. No. It's always in the mind of the entrepreneur.
Seller, yeah, exactly.
You don't believe that.
I'm searching, Ben. I need help. In many ways, but this one in particular, I could do with your assistance.
Yeah, let's do it.
Should we do this again?
Yeah, let's do this.
I loved it.
Me too.
Really loved it.
Yeah, and there's so many now side stories that I'm like, we need to get into this. You know what I mean? Like,
when you were talking, I was thinking we should share a stage. Because we can hold the event, and I can get other people as well. We should share a stage together.
Yeah.
Because I know I can pack a room. Right? That's what we do. We're a marketing company.
Let's do
I'm bringing John Gray here. You know, men are from Mars, women from Venus.
Yes.
I'm bringing him here, hopefully end of the year, but Corona stopped. I was doing a talk in front of 14,000 people in LA in April, cancelled. Doing a smaller group, so I'm kind of connected, and maybe we can do things together.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, there are no coincidences, you know what I mean?
No.
It's just like we were in the same room,
meant
we
to
just
happen.
connect. Boom,
and I chased you, didn't I? You kept cancelling because of this virus, social distancing. I thought, just tell him I want to sit 2 meters away from him when I'm talking to him, right? So, absolute honor, man. We got so much to do. We got so much to give. So let's do this again.
Amazing.
And I'm gonna, after this, I'm gonna hire you. Okay, to help me take me to the next level. Okay?
Let's do it.
Done.
Amazing.
Listeners, now you help individual entrepreneurs take them to the next level, and I'm going to be your guinea pig. I'm going to share the journey, and you can document it if you wish. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's document it.
Yeah,
How are you going to coach me to take me next level? And then when I'm a billionaire, we can say, right, Ben got me there. Right? If people want to take advantage or use your services, and how do they reach out to you?
So we can blend in, like a link, benwataracoaching.com. I always do like, a quick assessment to really just see who I can work with, to see, because it's always on both sides.
Yeah, they have to apply, right?
Exactly, they have to apply. So I see if I can really help them in the level where they are right now, because sometimes people, because you do need a strategy. Sometimes people really don't know what they need to do, but sometimes they know, and it's like the mindset that's holding them back. So they're like different processes that I go in. And, if people want to understand a little bit more about certain topics, that I go in, I have a YouTube channel. I have a podcast that I just launched right now, the I Am Possible podcast. And
we'll put all this at the bottom, but I'd like to hear it from you, and then we'll follow up with the text.
So, and that's like kind of the motto that I have, is the I Am Possible. It's because certain things feel impossible. But when I say I am possible, I'm focusing on the I am. It just seems impossible because of the I am, the identity that you hold right now. For you right now, it seems impossible. So it's not, is something possible or not? It's who will make it possible.
And it's changeable.
It is changeable.
Once you take ownership and responsibility.
Exactly.
Right?
So it all comes down to yourself and looking at yourself, and not like, is this thing possible or not? It's like, how will I make it possible?
But I am.
And most of the time it's here, who I believe to be and not to be.
And you know what? I love the name because you remember it and the story behind it. Who's going to forget I Am Possible?
Yeah.
Right. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Done. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. 2 frigging hours, and it's got like 15 minutes.
We were like, 1 hour.
I swear. I knew it was going to be short, but not this short. But you know what? Normally, and I hate to say this, but normally after about an hour, I'm trying to keep myself awake. Right? Yeah. Got 2 hours, and I want more. So, man, thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you, Ben. See you soon.
See you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
See you next week.